How to believe you deserve love. There's a young woman who was dating a young man, and they were only about 19 years old. And this young woman gets on social media and she is just appalled. You see, the man that she was dating had just broken down in tears and was sobbing. He was sobbing so hard that he actually got a nosebleed and bled all over her new dress. But she said, "I'm not upset about the dress. I'm upset because what triggered this man to start crying this way is that I told him that he deserves to be loved. Now, why," she said, "am I the only person in the 19 years of this young man's life that's ever told him that he deserves to be loved?" It's a sad fact. And this is not just true of men, although that is very common for the experience of men, that no one is reaffirming them, validating them, making them feel that they deserve to be loved. But this is common of women as well. Really, all people around the world can be raised in situations where they're not given the external validation that is actually needed in childhood. It is a need, not a want, as a child, to receive validation, to receive love from our caregivers. And if we don't receive that, that's no small deal. That's the reason why we would be dubbed as survivors, because we actually survived something that easily we could have died without. We can emotionally starve without having love and validation. And so if you're here now in your life, whether it was because your parents were neglectful emotionally and they didn't give you love, or it was because you went through a string of bad relationships and they left you feeling broken and unloved, whether it's because you've been treated poorly in your life, or you were abandoned because you were adopted, or because you were the child that was never adopted. Tonight, we want to change the misperception that you have, that you're carrying, that you don't deserve to be loved, or that you are unlovable. If you have a perception like that, I want you to look deep inside and try to identify it. Did you ever come to a conclusion, maybe when you were younger, that you don't deserve to be loved, or that you are not lovable, like you are the one person on the earth who no one could really like? Maybe you came to a conclusion that you were too ugly to be loved, or you might have come to a conclusion that there was something inherently wrong with you. A lot of young people come to these conclusions because their caregivers, they would assume, would love them. They would assume that their mother would love them. So when their mother does not love them, they get a perception, not that there's something wrong with the mom, but that there's something wrong with them, because their childhood concept of the mother or the father is that it couldn't possibly be this person because they love the mother and father so much. So they actually come to a conclusion that there has to be something inherently wrong with them. Because if my own mother can't love me, then how can anyone else? And this is how they reason. Have you reasoned like that? Matt was neglected by his stepmom, actually, because the woman his father married was not a nice woman at all to the two boys. And so Matt and his brother would be locked outside all day in the backyard, and they would have to use the bathroom out there. They would have to drink from the water hose. They were not given a lot of food. So they might get like a bowl of cereal in the morning and hope to get something before bed. The way that Matt's stepmom treated him over time imprinted on Matt that he was not worthy of love. And he saw this start to manifest in his relationships as he got older, he would find himself again and again in relationships with controlling women. Even one time he had a toxic boss that was also a controlling woman. And he had to ask himself, what is it about me that I keep attracting these types of people in my life? But when he did the work on himself, he realized that he was telling himself a story. It was a conclusion that he came to. And what was the conclusion? He concluded that because his stepmom mistreated him, that must be the treatment that he's worthy of. And so he found that it was true in his life, the age-old adage, we tend to seek the love we believe we deserve. And so many good people end up in bad relationships or in relationships with not so good people because they don't believe they deserve to be loved. They don't believe they are worthy of having a good relationship. What about you? Have you come to some conclusions like that? Have you noticed a pattern in your relationships being detrimental? Like you're constantly getting involved with people and situations that are to your detriment, and you don't realize until months or years into the relationship that this is just not sustainable. It's not going to work out. And it always keeps coming back to the same issue, this idea that you don't deserve to be loved. So you seek the wrong type of love, or love from the wrong people, or love in the wrong places. Some people actually seek out emotionally avoidant partners, or partners who are emotionally unavailable. It's like, oh, you're in jail, perfect. Oh, you're in the army and you're going to be gone, perfect. Oh, you're already married to someone else, perfect. That's just what I'm looking for. So they actually look for relationships that they know the partner won't be totally available and invested in, because they're subconsciously seeking what they had in childhood. This is what they know. I need to be neglected. It's as if they're saying, I need that neglect, because if I'm not being neglected, then I don't know what I am. I don't know who I am. Then nothing really makes sense. This is my whole system of belief about myself, is I'm not worthy. But again, Matt realized that it was a story he was telling himself, that he's not worthy. It's not that it's necessarily true. It was a conclusion he came to. It was a meaning he was giving to his treatment. So in other words, he's being mistreated. So then he gives himself the meaning, or he gives the treatment the meaning, I'm being mistreated because I don't deserve to be treated well. Now apply that to your situation. The reality is that however you were treated in your life, your treatment does not represent what you are worth. Your treatment only represents what someone else acted like, which could be an indication of who they are or what they're dealing with. But how someone treats you is not the indication of who you are. How someone treats you is not the indication of your worth and your value and your lovability and your likability. The subject is very important. This concept of believing that you deserve love, or believing that you're worthy of love, believing that you are lovable. It affects your entire life. It affects every aspect of your life, in fact. For instance, our research shows that 94% of people who believe they deserve love like themselves. So if you want to like yourself, you need to believe that you deserve love. This is important. It's not something you can get around. Research shows 86% of people who believe they deserve love also believe that they are interesting and fun. You want to feel good about yourself, you want to believe that you're interesting and fun as a person, prerequisite, you have to believe that you're lovable. You have to believe that you deserve love. 84% of people who believe they deserve love feel they are good enough for someone. Do you struggle feeling like you're not enough? It's the same issue. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. The people who believe they deserve love also feel that they are good enough. If you want to solve that, you have to believe you deserve love. 80% of people who believe they deserve love do not change their personality, opinions, or appearance to be accepted by others. The prerequisite for being steady, being yourself, and not changing and shifting to get the approval of other people, you need to believe you deserve love. 72% of people who believe they deserve love do not have an intense desire to be liked by everyone. Just that belief, just the belief that you deserve love and you are no longer worried about if everyone likes you or not. It solves your people pleasing. Believing that you deserve love makes you stop trying to seek it from everyone all the time. It's your path to freedom. 80% of people who believe they deserve love do not have a strong need for the approval of others. You want to get rid of your approval seeking? You need to believe you deserve love. 90% of people who believe they deserve love do not give more weight to other people's opinion of them than of their own opinion. You want to stop giving too much weight to everyone else's opinion? You need to believe that you deserve love. 88% of people who believe they deserve love do not believe only attractive and successful people deserve respect. 76% of people who believe they deserve love don't try to associate exclusively with successful, popular people. 91% of people who believe they deserve love do not characterize themselves as a failure. 90% of people who believe they deserve love do not believe they are worthless and useless. 92% of people who believe they deserve love will achieve something significant or become someone important, or at least they believe they will. 88% of people who believe they deserve love are not devastated when someone criticizes them. 87% of people who believe they deserve love are not extreme perfectionists. 76% of people who believe they deserve love do not have a strong fear of rejection. 91% of people who believe they deserve love will admit when they have made a mistake. 72% of people who believe they deserve love do not avoid conflict for fear of upsetting other people. 62% of people who believe they deserve love do not frequently seek reassurance from others before making decisions. 81% of people who believe they deserve love do not constantly ask for validation from their loved ones. Do you want to be like them? Do you want to be like these people who believe they deserve love? Well, then you need to change your beliefs. If you're walking into this talk with some idea that you don't deserve love, that you don't deserve, or that you're not lovable, or you're not worthy, or you're not enough, that needs to change right here, right now. Don't tell me I'm working on it. No. We fix it now. Well, yeah, but it's hard. I mean, it really takes time. No, it doesn't. It takes belief. It takes a decision. Write that on your notes in crayon. Decision. You need to make a decision. I understand beliefs so well. This is the secret to why I'm effective in this space, is because I'm trained as a missionary. And as a missionary, I had to go into foreign lands and be able to speak to someone who was a Hindu or a Muslim or whatever the local religion was at the time. It may have been in their family line for decades or centuries, and convince them that they should give Christianity a try. That's a daunting task, to walk up to a Muslim in a Muslim country and be like, so let's talk about Jesus. That's tough. That's tough. So you want to talk about being able to change beliefs. When you sit down and you talk to people, you realize that all of us have the ability to change our beliefs if we have the evidence that we need to do so. Every day you are changing your beliefs instantaneously. So don't tell me, well, it's a work in progress, I'm really working on it. No. You can change your beliefs tonight, right now during this talk. You can listen to this talk and be like, yep, I need to change my beliefs. Because when you watch television and they tell you something new, it's not hard for you to grasp it, is it? When you watch television, they tell you, oh, there's a new virus, it's COVID, blah, blah, blah. You're not like the next day like, oh my God, it's so hard for me to process that COVID exists now. No. And they say, well, you don't need a mask. And then they say you do need a mask. And then you change your beliefs quickly. You just get a little information. Oh, there's a war. War has broken out in this country. Maybe you corroborate it with another source. And then you go, oh, there's war in that country. Done. You can change your beliefs instantaneously. So don't give me the nonsense about, well, I'm really working and this is just really tough because I've known this, I've believed this since I was a child. It doesn't matter what you believe since you were a child. What matters is what you decide to believe right now. And pay attention. These people who believe they deserve love are getting all the love. They're getting all the success, all the happiness, all the good vibes. They're transcending. And those of us who stay stuck in a belief, no, but not me, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable, I'm not enough. We stay stuck in that belief, and everything in our life goes wrong as a result. So now's the moment to change the belief. Let's do it together. Let's change the belief right now. You just need a pen and paper, or a pencil is fine. Something you can write on. You can take notes in your phone. Doesn't matter. Just need something you can write on. First thing you have to write there is what the old belief was. So it's going to be worded a little different for everyone. But that old detrimental belief that's holding you back, that's the opposite of believing you deserve love, write that down. It could be something like, I feel like I don't deserve love, or I feel like no one could love me, or I feel like the people that I love could never love me back. Whatever your detrimental belief is, it could be I'm not worthy of love. Write it down in your words, the idea that you came up with, the story that you've told yourself, the conclusion that you came to, the meaning that you gave to the mistreatment that you received. Write that down on your piece of paper. Now, what we want to do under there is we want to examine the evidence, right? Because if we're going to change our beliefs, we should base our beliefs on evidence, right? Not just on a feeling, a whim, or something we heard or came up with as a child. So just go ahead and jot down under there, what is the evidence that supports that belief? Even if part of you doesn't believe it anymore, if there's part of you that does believe it, then there must be some evidence that supports it. So go ahead and write down the evidence under that belief, whatever it is that you feel supports it. Could be something that happened when you were a kid, even something small. I came to the conclusion when I was a kid that nobody cares about me. I came to that conclusion when I was just trying to tell my mom something and she seemed uninterested. I was just trying to tell her about my day. I was in 3rd grade. I remember we were in the kitchen. I remember the whole scene. It's like a little mini trauma. She didn't seem like she cared. And I realized in that moment, I came to this conclusion. So what was it for you? What happened when you came to a conclusion that you're not lovable, you're not likable? Write down your evidence. Write it all down. What do you have to support the belief that nobody can love you? Do you have your evidence written down? Next, you're going to want to write the opposing belief. So now the opposing belief is going to be basically the opposite of the old detrimental belief, but it's going to be something that's more accurate and helpful to believe. According to your adult mind, according to your understanding as an adult, what is a more accurate way of looking at that? So for instance, when I came to the conclusion that nobody cares, that's an extreme belief. So I need to just adopt that a little bit to some people do care sometimes. That's more accurate, right? So what's the more accurate belief that contradicts that old belief? Write that down and underline it. Whatever you wrote down, it should basically say that you deserve to be loved. It can be a synonymous statement with that, but ultimately it has to mean you deserve to be loved. So now you've got the two opposing viewpoints here, and you've got evidence written down for why you don't deserve to be loved. So now go ahead and write down the evidence that you can come up with for why you do deserve to be loved. We're writing down the evidence for why we do deserve to be loved. Anything you can come up with that would support that you do deserve to be loved. One of the pieces of evidence I came up with for why some people do care is that I know I care. I can't read everyone else's heart, but I know I am the type of person who really does care about others. I care about their story. I care about their feelings. That's evidence to me that that level of love, that level of care and empathy does exist. So even if I'm not seeing it and receiving it from other people, I have it, so therefore it exists. So therefore it suggests that somebody cares, at least I do, which means so what evidence do you have that you do deserve to be loved? Right? So we go back to our illustration of the nursery, right? If you're in a nursery and you're looking at all the babies that are inside that nursery, and then the government tells you, we just need you to select the babies that we can kill off because they don't deserve to be loved and they don't deserve to live. And then they ask you to just point out which of the babies don't deserve to live. See, in this illustration, how would you decide which babies are unworthy of receiving any love? How would you decide which of these babies are unworthy of receiving love? You're faced there with a moral dilemma, no doubt, right? Because probably you wouldn't feel comfortable basing it on race or basing it on the health of the child. or the size of the child. So ultimately, you would come up with the conclusion that you'd have to tell the government officials, I can't do this. There is no way for me to pick out which of these babies deserves love and doesn't deserve love. All these babies deserve love. And then, so let's say the government official looks at you and says, really? All babies deserve love? And you're like, yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like all babies deserve love. And then they say to you, so are you saying all babies in the world, like every baby that's born deserves to be loved? And then you say, yeah. And then they say, based on what? These babies have accomplished nothing in their life. They have done nothing. We as the government feel like these are the perfect people to kill because they haven't really accomplished anything. So based on what are you saying that all these children deserve love? What's your basis? What would you say back? And then that strips us all the way down like the core of our beliefs, right? And a lot of us go the religious route and we're just like, because they're all God's children, right? Because ultimately, at the core of our belief, we recognize that each baby is born inherently with value, and each baby should be valued. So as soon as they come into this world, they're on this earth, we should give them love. They just deserve it. It's just a human right. And that's the conclusion that you come to. So now here's the point. You were born a baby. You were once in that nursery. So the same rule applies to you. If you were born a baby, if you were born a human baby, then you were born deserving love. And so since you said the reason they deserve love is not what they accomplish, then you can take away the old belief that, well, I'm not deserving of love because I haven't accomplished anything. You can let go of that because babies are deserving of love. They haven't accomplished anything. And so if I show you babies that are being mistreated and I say, maybe can we throw these babies in the trash because they're being mistreated? You would say, no, they still deserve love. Okay, good. Then you, no matter what mistreatment you endured in your life, you never lost your value. You stayed deserving of love at all times. If you don't have this down, this evidence down on your lists, make sure you add it because you're deserving of love. You were born deserving of love. That's intrinsic. And you don't lose it when you get to be 4 or 8 or 16 or 26. You just stay a being that is valuable inherently and inherently deserving of love for your entire life. Now let's go back to our list of evidence and let's score it. So we're going to use a weight value. The weight value is 1 through 5. You're going to give each piece of evidence a value, either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 5 represents this is a very good, solid piece of evidence. 1 represents this is a very weak piece of evidence. And then you can go 2, 3, 4, respectively. Again, we're going to go back, look at the pieces of evidence that support why you're not lovable, and then the evidence that supports why you do deserve love. And you're going to assign each piece of evidence a weight. You're going to put a number next to it, either the number 1, representing it as a piece of weak evidence, or 2, 3, 4, or 5, according to how valid that piece of evidence is. 5 represents this is a very good piece of evidence. So go on through and score up each one. This way we can look at our belief system mathematically here. So when you get the score according to which pieces of evidence seem really valid, really valuable, go ahead and total each belief system. So your first belief, I'm unlovable, or I don't deserve love. What score does that get? Your second belief, add up the total value of that evidence, and what score does that get? Now, if on your piece of paper you see that you have a higher score that supports the belief that you deserve love, then with me right now, I need you to decide to believe in that. There's higher quality evidence that supports that you deserve to be loved. All of the research shows it improves your life to believe that you deserve to be loved. Because this belief contradicts the old belief, you must let go of the old belief and adopt the new belief. I deserve to be loved. I am worthy of being loved. I am lovable. Adopt the new belief right now, not by feeling, by decision. You decide right now to adopt the new belief. Now, is there anyone who did the score and it turned out that you have more evidence to support that you are unlovable? Because we'll talk about it right now. Is there anyone that did this test and found that there was more evidence to support that they are actually unlovable, worthless, undeserving of love? Just go ahead and throw your hand up. Okay, great. So that means our problem is solved. So now we can see very clearly and very concretely on our page, worked out mathematically, that we are deserving of love. We understand intellectually that it's better for us to move forward with this new belief, that we are worthy, that we are deserving of love, of all of the best. As a result of moving forward in this belief, we will have better connections, better relationships, better self-esteem from here on out. Don't ever go back to believing that you are worthless, because if you do that, you are abusing the self, and that makes you culpable, just like your primary abusers, whether that was your caregivers or someone else. It makes you culpable of abuse and emotional neglect if you continue to abandon yourself, treat yourself as worthless, or believe that you are worthless. Don't ever go back to that again. This is the new belief. And so the self-talk is, I am worthy of love. I am beautiful. I am lovable. I am wonderful. I am unique. I am one of a kind. I am created wonderfully. I have so much to be grateful for. I attract goodness in my life. And then take it into propitious statements or propitious questions. Why am I so lovable? Put that on your page. Why am I so worthy? Why am I so attractive? Why am I so capable? And now move forward with the new belief. You can leave the old one behind. It's trash. It's completely useless. And I'll see you in health and happiness. If you need work with this, if you need a little bit of help, get with myself or one of the trauma recovery specialists. You can contact us through the website. There's a number on there. Anyone can send me a text message anytime if you need additional assistance. Until then, we can move forward. And we've got so many bigger and better things to discuss now that you realize that you are worthy of love. So I'll see you on Wednesday for that group discussion.